Welcome to another edition of The Chosen Scoop. Today, I'm visiting with my good friend Tammy Carlisle with Action Worldwide Limousines in Atlanta. And Tammy, welcome to The Chosen Scoop.
Hey, Jim, I'm so happy to be here. It's been a long day traveling, but I'm glad we were able to get this in.
So, and obviously, Tammy is sitting outside, and while she's from Atlanta, she is currently visiting the lovely state of California, as evidenced by the palm trees behind her. And Tammy, what are we drinking?
Oh, a Stella Artois, of course. Everybody knows I'm a Stella girl.
All right. So, as you probably aware, everybody, that we do the Chosen Scoop to feature some of our excellent merchants that we have. Tammy was one of the first that came to mind when I was told to find somebody in the limousine industry to do a Chosen Scoop with. So, Tammy, tell us, how did you get in the limo business?
Do you want the real story or the one that sounds better, Jim?
I want the scandalous story.
Okay, so approximately 11 years ago, I had gone through a terrible divorce, and I had known Clarence because I used him for all of my limo service.
Wait,
And
who's Clarence?
Clarence Carr is the owner of Action Limousines for 28 years, started with one car, and now we have 30 vehicles, and we can get to that later. But the main thing was the reason I got started is Clarence had gone through a divorce the year before. I went through one 11 years ago, and he just happened to call me for some advice and some other information. I invited him to start like just hanging out with me and my friends. I had taken a job in Tennessee, and I was coming home to the local area on weekends, and I always had a group of 15 to 20 friends that I got together every Friday afternoon when I arrived back from Chattanooga. So he started coming, and we started hanging out, and just one thing led to another. We realized we were pretty much soulmates, and after 11 years we still sleep together and have the best time.
I love it. So romance brought you to the limousine business.
It did. His office manager was in a horrible motorcycle accident. We were still working in Tennessee at that point. I still had my other position, and I kept asking him, like, why do you feel like you're so short? I don't understand this. And then when she was in that accident, we realized she was stealing $6,000 to $10,000 a month from the company. She would actually
Wow.
run it, and then she would void it on the back end, and he wasn't even seeing that because he had given her so many permissions.
Hmm. Well, speaking of these kind of challenges, obviously we've all been through a very, very long 2020 um, with a lot of challenges, and I'm interested in hearing what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome as a result of the pandemic and operating your business.
Well, obviously, for all of us, COVID was hard. I mean, we had financial obligations that most of us couldn't meet unless we were independently wealthy. So, thankfully, most of the lenders did some really great modifications. It hurt my heart. It was 2 Fridays ago. I had to pay Santander $14,000 all at one time just to catch up because I was literally at that point, and a lot of you guys can understand this, where I had a brand new bus that was delivered last January that I got for zero down because our credit's great, and it has zero equity in it, and it hasn't moved probably but 3 times in the past year. Um, Made the payment, decided the pain was worse, going to be worse later than now, and we just keep moving forward. So the challenges were definitely financial. For me, it was socialization. I tend to talk to everybody. You guys know I reached out to many of you guys during the first part of the pandemic. Then I'd go through a lull myself. I was extremely depressed, and nobody really knew that because I always put on Tammy's happy face and was always like, "Oh, hey, it's so great to hear from you." And then I'd hang up the phone and go, "Oh man." But the truth is that COVID was financially hard. We've recovered much better than I'm afraid some operators have because of our retail part of our business. And I pray for everybody all the time. And then the other part for me was definitely socialization, not seeing my friends, even locally, was the hardest thing for me ever. It was being that isolated because I'm just a very social person. I sign up for every event as fast as I can right now. I don't think there's anything coming up that I'm not planning to attend.
Wow. Yeah, I am the same way. I mean, I'm a marketing guy, so my job is, shaking hands and kissing babies. And when you take people like you and I that are very social and lock us up, it's not good. It's not good mentally. It's just not good. So, obviously not being able to get out and about with other operators. And by the way, this broadcast is being seen far and beyond the limousine industry. We're talking to jewelers today, funeral directors, pet care facilities. Everybody that's within our channel is seeing this video. So we all, no matter what business you're in, have experienced some challenges like you described. Um, let's talk about the limousine industry specifically, though. What do you love about your industry?
It's different every day, Jim. We never know what's going to cross our paths. We're in a very blessed industry. We work with the top percentile of the United States and the world as far as people that actually use luxury chauffeur transportation. And then we also have the other spectrum of that. It is the funerals, it is the weddings, it's the birthdays, it's the anniversaries, it's the proposals. I love the fact that we do both corporate and the retail, because the retail is the one that speaks to your heart a lot. I mean, they always have a real need, and we're able to fulfill that. It's not that my average traveler that's going to the airport doesn't have a real need. We do an amazing job at that too, of making sure that they are taken care of, that we're sanitizing our cars and everything is perfect. But what I love most is that everything changes on a daily basis. I never know what that next call is going to bring if I'm helping out on the phones. I think that's the one thing I've trained my CSRs to do really well, is to be extremely adaptable. And it's the same thing with our chauffeurs. All of our chauffeurs are PAX trained 100%. And that covers both the corporate side and the retail side. And then I kind of split them up based on their personalities to who goes where. But we have so much fun in this industry. People don't realize how much fun it can be. Sometimes they get stressed out about the little things, but you have to let the little things go once in a while.
Yeah. And for those of you who are watching that may have met me at a funeral show or a book seller show, I spent 25 years in the limousine business. So I have an affinity for the limousine industry. And of course, people like Tammy that I worked with for years and years, while I'm no longer in the limousine industry, except through, Chosen Payments is one of the industries we serve. I always love talking to limo operators because it's my roots. It's where I came from. Um, and let's talk about the future as we're coming out of the pandemic and tiers are starting to change where people can get out and about. What do you see for Action Worldwide in the future for the remainder of 2021? What's that look like?
So, Jim, I pulled some numbers yesterday, even before you called me. And it was really shocking to me because I pulled a reservation report. I kind of look at the sales side of it and then know that I'm going to have like 10% attrition. Is that kind of something you did when you were in the industry?
Oh, absolutely.
And so I was looking at March 1st through the 23rd last year, thinking that it was going to be significantly higher because at that point we really hadn't hit this COVID pandemic stage yet until like the 17th, maybe.
Right.
And we had only, well, I say only, but to many people, we had $80,000 in reservations booked for the 1st through the 23rd. So I pulled this year and I was wondering why the phone seemed so busy and what was going on. And we're at 135 the 1st through the 23rd, which means we're
Nice.
$55,000 more in upcoming reservations than we were last year, right on top of the pandemic. And so it shows a really healthy recovery if you're positioned well and you can handle that volume. I'm finding it hard to staff the office effectively, which is why I'm spending more time on the phone than I have in years now. But I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I mean, Masters is coming in this year, and then all of the schools just released prom within the past 2 weeks. And so I'm excited for these kids. And so I'm not going to let them falter. And we're going to have as few voicemails as possible. We answer live every time. We don't have a message machine that says push one for this or push two for that. And it's a personal thing for me. But right now I can see where that would be very useful. But I do see a very bright future for our industry and actually our whole economy. If people are doing this and spending money on chauffeur transportation, that's going to translate right down into jewelry and pets and all the things that we enjoy that are extra. I think the government has helped with the stimulus, of course, but I just really see a good future at the moment. I hope things don't turn in the other direction anytime soon.
Me too. Speaking of, as we're getting going again, I know that the California Limousine or the California Livery Association is having their first in-person event. And by the way, on the day that we are recording this, folks, we are exactly 1 year and 7 days out from when the pandemic was declared. So that was March 17th. We are 1 week out past that. That is the date of our recording. So, the Greater California Livery Association is about to launch the first in person event since all of this nightmare began on March 30th. And Tammy, I understand that you're a big part of that. So, as an Atlanta based operator, how did that come about? And tell us a little bit more about what you are working on coming up in Huntington Beach.
So I'm super excited about the GCLA live event. We've been members of the GCLA for more than 4 years now. It is one of the best associations state wise in the whole entire world that I know of. The GCLA has always done a great job to support its members. It welcomes us as affiliates from other areas. We do a tremendous amount of business with our affiliates in California. What you'll find now is that most of us have really preferred partners in hundreds of cities. We all say 550, but when we really count it down, we have those people that we can speed dial and probably a couple hundred. And then the rest of them, we have the resources to find them. The GCLA has always been one of the leaders in our industry of bringing news to our industry. We know what's coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. And this event on next Tuesday at the Hyatt is just going to be amazing. We have some of the best speakers, and it's just a 1 day event, and I think we're almost sold out now. I think we might have 25 or 30 seats left. I am the fundraising committee chair because, believe it or not, even though I'm from Atlanta, I can chair a committee for the GCLA, and it's fun to be an instrumental part in a association that I believe in so very much. So we're really looking forward to it. I don't know that anybody else would have had the courage to do this, but the GCLA did. And I'm very proud of Mo and his leadership team and Sarah Eastwood Richardson, their director right now, because it has come together and we are going to have an absolutely fabulous event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to attending that event myself. Um, I myself am involved in a lot of charity within my own community and produced my own very first in person fundraiser on this past Saturday night on the 20th of May. We really didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I'm going to tell you that it's a 12-year-old event done on an annual basis that we had to cut in half for social distancing. We had no idea how it was going to turn out, but we raised $98,000 in one night.
Holy
And
cow, Jim. That's
the
amazing.
it was amazing. It was far better than any of us on the planning committee could have ever anticipated. And the general conversation that permeated every table at that event was, it's so nice to see you. It's so nice to be out. And when we opened up the program for our live auction, for our silent auction, for something we called Fund a Need, which is basically a bidding process, people were generous, more generous than I've ever seen. So I hope the same for GCLA. I'm looking forward to participating in the event myself. And as we begin to wrap this up, I'm wondering what advice can you offer your peers, not only your peers, really anybody that's in business, as we navigate through tough times? What advice would you have for them?
Stay very positive. I mean, it's a matter of getting up. And if you're not having a great day, find a way to make it a great day. If that means calling a friend, calling your pastor, calling your a family member, just do it. I mean, being positive is going to get you through more than anything else. Hey, and Jim, congratulations on all that success. We could literally use, if anybody needs some exposure next Tuesday, a couple more silent auction items. We're keeping it small. We're only going to do 6 to 8 items. I have 4 on the table right now. I was going to work on the rest of those now that I'm here in California. But, if you have anybody that needs some a little bit of exposure, but it wants to be generous, I think the charity is Grapes for Good. And I think we'll have to ask Sarah. I literally chair the committee and I should be ashamed of myself. I just knew that I had some goals to set, and it's been a very busy personal time for me. I didn't mention COVID's been challenging because my mother-in-law's been with me for a year in a wheelchair in my house. So guess who handles most of her care? Because Clarence doesn't do showers with his elderly mother.
Yeah.
But I mean,
No.
every morning I have to get up and go, hey, I need something positive to think about. I get my coffee. I use Blinkist, which is a great book program that's available, and it's a slow subscription. And I'll go in and listen to a sales book or something inspirational. I'll pull out my Bible. It just all depends on that mood that morning. But no matter how challenged you are, it's all about your attitude. If you cannot have a positive attitude, then it's not going to reflect on other people, and that positivity won't come back to you.
What fantastic advice that you just gave the world. Thank you for that. We've been talking with Tammy Carlisle from Action Worldwide Limousines based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Jim Luff for Chosen Payments. Thanks for joining us for this edition of The Chosen Scoop. Thank you, Tammy.
Bye, guys.